Hello, all. It's Allegra again, back with Miss TeeCee Okore, Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla. I'm really excited because we have some amazing things to share with you today. We are going to be talking about Apple Incorporated, the origins of the almighty Apple with a bite. I have Miss TeeCee here. We're going to really dig into the origins of Apple Incorporated, the company that Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne started this company back in 1976. So we're going to be talking about that with y'all today. I want you to get your questions ready. Make sure that if you find something in these articles that we're sharing with you, because we're doing our own research to build our brands, to build our businesses up, we're discovering what these big brands are doing, right? Because they're still small businesses, and also, we have to understand how we can learn from them. So let's dig in, and I'm going to just do introductions real quick, and then we're going to start the conversation. I want you all to share this live for us. Let your friends know that we are here, and if you have people that are entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals wanting to start a business, this is the perfect space for them, because they can learn as they're listening. And we also have amazing programs and services that they can dip into if they need additional support. So make sure you don't have no stingy energy. Make sure you share the live. I'm gonna go ahead and start here. My name is Allegra. I'm the marketing medulla. I am a business coach and marketing strategist, entrepreneur of many years. And what I love to do is support women entrepreneurs. Make sure you have the opportunity to start, grow, and scale your business from the ground up. And wherever you're stuck in between, we have additional resources to make sure that you are sustainable. Your business should not be a hobby. It has to make money, if not every day, every hour, every minute, right? Get your business in order so that you can be foundational, functional, and make sure that you make a profit. I do have partners like Miss TeeCee, who is amazing at implementation. I'm going to have her introduce herself, and then we're going to get into it. TeeCee, you have the mic.
Yes, thank you so much, Allegra, and thank you everyone here. So, if you are a service provider, or if you are purpose driven with energy, time, you're looking to you want on your focus on what exactly you're called. That's where I get that done. The strategic approach and automated system. Think about your launches, funnels, your marketing, all of those great stuff that really gets your business that structured so that you're able to attract the right audience, connect, uh, okay, so that you're able to attract the right audience. So you're able to attract the right audience and as much as possible connect these people, convert them as well into repeat paying customers. Now, all of those process and more is basically what I touch base on. And so, if you're thinking about what goes on in the back end of your business, reach out to me because I want to break it down for you. All right. Today we are going to be talking about something really cool today, and I can't wait to dig deep into it because I have my sentiments. Okay, I have my sentiments about Apple, but at this junction, whether I like it or not, we just have to give it to them. But I'm going to keep all of the surprise. If you have takes, shares, questions, feel free to join us in the conversation. Because yes, this conversation is for us, is for you, is for me, just so we're able to leverage big brands like this, and scale in the momentum that we envision for ourselves. All right. Okay, over to you, Allegra.
Thank you, TC. So I'm going to look here and see, what we have going on. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing this live. And we, really loved sharing these stories because as we are looking into the background of the big brands that we buy from all the time, like think about it, like why do you spend your money on these big brands? Like what makes you so addicted to the brand, right? They have a strategy, it's marketing, it's all of it is behind the scenes psychology. And so we like to dig into the background of the brands to make sure that we know more about what happens behind those scenes and that we can share it with you so that you can go ahead and pick in, your flavor of what works for your business too. The origins of Apple was really interesting because some of us have seen the movie. Like, please put a heart up if you saw a movie, or in the chat if you saw a movie. We're not on Clubhouse right now. TeeCee, feel free to join Clubhouse if you want to, so they can know we're here. So listen, the origins of Apple, founded in 1976. So April of 1976, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. These three individuals got together, and they started in the garage in California. And the vision developed, and they wanted to just basically sell computers, right? That's all it really was. Like, they were really basically borderline geeks, like, if you think about it. And they really was into the whole idea of, what computers could do for people. And back then, I can't even imagine, TeeCee, like, I mean, just being in this innovative stage and knowing like computers can change the world if, people had it in their homes. Nobody even knew about computers like that because they were using it on a larger scale. These were like big box machines that people would never want in their homes. So interesting because as they developed this idea for personal computers, right? Wozniak was responsible for creating the first Apple computer. Jobs was responsible to take charge of marketing and leadership, and Ronald was designed who was put in to design the original Apple logo, and he also provided administrative oversight. Right, so it's so interesting because it says that after finding the company after 12 days, he sold his shares. That's what it says. So we're going to dig into this because I'm like, what? Like, you founded a company and after 12 days, you like, what the heck? And remember, this is not at the time that these three guys came up with the idea and was just like, hey, we're going to start the business. And now we got somebody to just give us a whole bunch of money. No, like, we even saw, even in the movie, where they had to keep working through this process of figuring out, like, how are we going to do this thing? And at one point, I remember in the movie when Steve Jobs had to make like 300 phone calls in a day. And so I thought that was inspiring because as I'm, reading this, each person was developed in making sure they had responsibility. So that's why I believe, and I'll stop here for a second because I believe that in the beginning of your business operation wise, in order to get more done, it's better for you to have more people. And some of the fear around building a team, I think, comes from, especially when I think about some of my clients and case studies we've done, is about, not really knowing exactly what the business is going to look like yet and not understanding how to delegate that. And the truth is that if people are part of this vision, right? If people have the same like passion as you, if they also have the same will to put in forth effort, whether it's time, money, what I'm saying, like knowledge, then you can partner with people in the beginning of your business that can actually help your business grow. And that's what these guys did. And so we have to look at that and say, like, the most successful businesses, they're small brands because if you look at the numbers, they are in the billions, right? So they definitely have grown to be this big brand. But as a small business, they started off with just three guys in a garage. And so I want TeeCee to add in here because this is something that I teach, right? About being able to quickly build with support. We talk about this in our community too, because networking allows you to find the individuals who are ready and willing to partner with you now. Find the individuals who are ready to buy from you now. And so that's one part of it. But first you have to know what you want to do. And then you have to start talking about it with people so that you can get the individuals that can provide the services or the support for what you want to do, right? Whether it's clients, customers, or partners. So I want to hear from you, TeeCee, because this is an interesting beginning. And I'm sure they were like pretty geeky guys going out there trying to sell some idea that everybody's like, I don't care about that, So, but now everybody is addicted to it. So yeah, go ahead. I want to hear from you.
I want us to I want to just take you back a bit. You're talking about team, building a team, having a team. So this is not to drag anyone, and this is not to shade anyone, but you see, I feel like as a business owner, it's important that, irrespective of the size of your business, these conversations we have every single week is meant for us to think further than how we are currently thinking about our businesses. We should think our businesses as big brands, as Apple, as KFC, as which other brands, all of them big brands, and it comes with our mindset. I was in a networking room before this, and I remember a lady said something, when I was asked to speak, and then I was like, oh, I have a team and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, because I can't do it all by myself. Now, this is not because I don't want to do it all by myself, but the truth is, no, this is not because I can't do it all by myself, but because I don't want to do it all by myself. Because I believe that the vision that I carry, the idea that I carry, this thing that I carry is not meant for only me, right? And when God gives you a purpose, a vision, it's meant for you to open it up so people can, tag along in the ministry. That's it, right? And so I said what I had to say, and then she'd be like, come in, and she's like, oh, I don't think it is necessary for businesses to have teams. However, I love to do collaborations and partnerships. And I look at her and I said, but that's also a team. Like, what do you think a team is? But I didn't say a word anyways, because that's not my business. You think whatever you want to think. If you want to know what I'm thinking, and you come to my space and we have a conversation. But I was not ready to give my unsolicited opinion at that particular time. So I just looked at her and I'm like, hmm, hmm. Now you need to be in this room that we are in, because you need to think further. And so I was staring at her the way she was talking, and I said in my mind, I said, Madam, you have a team. What you do, it's just that you don't have an in-house team, but you have a team because you have people you collaborate with, people you partner with. They're also a team. What's a team? You know, and I believe that at the end of the day, it's a mindset thing, right? You can't, no, you can, but you shouldn't do it alone, especially if you know what you carry, and you know that what you carry is meant for a very long time. And I believe that that is basically the trend. If you notice, Allegra, that's like the trend all of these, in quotes, big brands carry. They're amazing at what they do individually, but they understand that when they bring different individuals that are amazing at what they do, even if I know it, but you bring different people together, right, with their amazing personalities, their amazing skills, and we're able to share responsibilities. It makes it easier and it makes it faster. And so that's one thing I want us to take out before we go deep down into Apple and all of the amazingness. So I wanted to share that because, trust me, I've been waiting to just talk about it since after that networking meeting. Over to you, Allegra.
No, that's amazing. Let us know how this resonates with y'all. Let us know if it, is something. Hey, Karan, welcome to the live. If it's something that you feel is empowering, because here's the truth. Having a team is one of the most effective resources, the most effective tools to have, because that means that you understand how to have relationships, and you understand how to manage others, and understand how to have boundaries. And it goes a lot deeper than just a matter of, do you have a business or anything like that. So, when I think about this, these guys, and this is something that I want to empower women to do more of, because one of the things that I've seen in business is that, men do this very well, is, the camaraderie. They don't even have to like each other. They just like, we're just going to do business together. So, I love the fact that we can empower each other by talking about, some of the ways that we can say, hey, if you do something similar to what I do, what my clients need, let's partner up. TeeCee, I white label her services, or I'll send people over and say, here, listen, I don't do that, but I know a girl, right? And there's just something powerful about being able to have that circle of a team. And I think it is true. We'll continue with this story because I want y'all to get the real nuggets from Apple and how they grew their brand, but they started out with a team, right? So it wasn't as difficult Especially when we have investors and banks and people that we're, trying to sell our business to and say, hey, our business is so amazing. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so who's in the business? And you're like, oh, it's just me. And they're like, all right, let's look at that. Because, technically as a solopreneur, it's great because you can, go out, make money and, your sole proprietorship or your business is operational under you as one person. But then when those departments need to be there so that you can get funding, so that you can, get the big jobs like the government bids and all the things that we talk about, then you have to have a team. And so these are the things that is good to just look at and say, where's my team, and are they in cahoots with what my vision is, right? So this what these guys did. They were in cahoots with the vision, and so they started that product creation after they incorporated. Because remember, before their incorporation in 1976, these are just some guys walking around, talking about this product that they want to create. It wasn't even finished. They were just talking about it. They're like a prototype. Hey, this is what we want to do. This is what it's going to do. This is how we want to use it. This is how we want to sell it. And for the most part, if I remember correctly, they got turned down a lot. So, we have to kind of look at that in our businesses too. How often are we quitting when people are saying no, or when we get a door shut in our face? You're going to get doors shut in your face. Expected. And the more doors that you get shut in your face, the better you are at going to the doors. Because at the end of the day, every time you go to a closed door, it's giving you more opportunity to get to your open door quicker, right? Because it's law of averages, right? So we have to look at this. They started with that first product after beta testing it. Basically, Apple One was the name. It was just a single board computer. And they sold it for $666.60. That's a weird number. I don't like that number. But they sold it for $600. Let's put it like that. And it was followed by Apple II, right? Which was in 1977. So clearly they were able to, either sell this computer enough where they've fulfilled that market and exhausted that market. Because if you ever look at like an Ansoff strategy mix, right, which is a marketing term, it's the actual format of a like a, what do we call it? It's like a box strategy, and you have your present target audience and the present market, right? Like, where do you need to be in that box? You have the new audience and the present market. Where are you in that box, right? What product are you offering in that box? So, and if you're in the beginning of business, like Apple One, I'm sure they were promoting it to a new audience in a new market. They didn't have a present audience that knew anything about computers. Nobody had a computer at home. So they had to literally tell people how this would benefit them. And they sold it for over $600. Then Apple II became one of the world's first highly successful mass-produced microcomputers. It played a key role in Apple's early growth. I don't know if I had Apple 1977. I don't know if I had it, but I know when I was 16, that was when I had my first computer, y'all. Okay, so I was a little behind the nose. And when I think about this product and how it was able to change the game for a lot of people, it means that people really needed it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people really needed it. So I want to stop there for a minute, because before we go to the next part, and we're going to continue with this for about 20 minutes or so, we just want to give you an opportunity to ask your questions. And if you're on the live, if you're not on the live and you hear us on the replay, feel free to DM us. Feel free to drop questions in the comment section still, because we still look back, make sure we're checking on you, seeing if you have any stopping points, because this stuff is real good meat. And you want to eat it one bite at a time, because you want to get full from it. This information, as far as like the background and the way that they went from first product to the next product to see how successful they're going to be, and also how they, obviously used their investment, because Ronald Wayne was one of their part of the vision as well. And clearly he sold his shares 12 days after it's founded. So, you know, this is something that we have to look more into, because I don't know if that's because it was successful or because he was like, I'm out, you know, like we got to look into that. Some people miss out on their opportunity. But I'll stop there, TeeCee. Go ahead. You have the mic.
Yeah, I actually was waiting on you to talk about Wayne, because that's something that stood out for me. You know, as business owners, or rather, I have seen people stray away from, you know, their businesses, stray away from what they're called to do. Why? Because they say something, they say things like, oh, the people who they were expecting to support them didn't get to support them, and so they get disappointed, and then you be like, oh, you know what, I don't think this is meant for me. Or, you know, we get disappointed along the way, people disappoint us. I mean, these disappointments will definitely come, right? But look at the scenario between Ronald, Wayne, and the rest of the team, right? I'm sure that, I don't know, right? And you don't have to drag me for this, but this is my opinion. I'm sure that if Ronald Wayne, even if he was sick at that particular time, right? Even if something critical was happening, I'm very certain that if he had seen the future of Apple, if he had seen how amazing Apple would grow, if he had seen that Apple would be like the top, when it comes down to electronics, if he had seen this, he wouldn't have sold his shares. I mean, he was one of the founding, like one of the three of them, right? Now he sold his shares for just 800. Do you know how much that those shares would be right now? But because of his lack of insights, now that's how I see it. Okay, he sold his shares. Now this is me, because everything you'll be like saying, see, I'm seeing all of these things, because the reasons why we are having these sessions is not because we want to talk about these brands and talk about how amazing they are. We want to clarify and make you understand that we, me and you, we are starting where they started. We are them that time where they started. Now we can also be even more than where they are right now, if only we can sit ourselves down and put in the right structures, just like they have, right? And so I'm looking at Wayne and his action. I'm like, if only he knew. Now this is also that sign for everyone that's going to be watching this, right? I know if you watch this, you don't like it. If you watch it, you don't comment, but you watch it, I see the impression. Okay. Now, like I I see the impression, and that's why I'm telling you that just because you watch this is the sign for you to stay committed to the vision, stay committed to that idea, stay committed to that thing you want to do, stay committed to your business, because it's going to definitely pay off. Now, don't get distracted by the people who come into your life, who come into your business, woo, 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 and then they just leave you and leave you all high and dry, and then they'll be like, oh, you know what, figure it out yourself. Don't think about it. Allegra is laughing. I don't know why Allegra is laughing, but this is me saying that you need to stay focused. You see the way the two Steves, stayed focused on their goal, and you see where Apple is right now. I promise you, your business can be even bigger than Apple. You just need to stay committed and follow the process and put in the right structures, which we're basically going to be breaking down right now, so you can also pick, what strategy works for you. All right, so I had to put that out so that it can sink in and we can understand that, trust me, that vision is bigger than that person that is working out on you right now. Okay.
TeeCee, I want to say this about Mr. Ronald Wayne. So we did look it up to see what Ronald was doing at this time, because we have to look at the real parts of what's happening behind the scenes, because we're really real people in business. These are things that actually happens, and when we experience them, we have to have something to be relatable, right? So that we can say, oh, okay, that happened when Apple was born. No problem, right? We can get through it. So one of the things that we noticed is that I put it up here that Ronald Wayne sold his shares in Apple just 12 days after its founding due to concerns over potential financial risk and personal liability. All right, I'm gonna break this down. Personal liability. So at the time, Apple was a partnership between Wayne, Steve Jobs, and Steve Wozniak, right? So as a co-founder, Wayne was personally liable for all business debts Apple might incur. So like anything that Apple, was doing, which are these Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right? Anything that they were buying, anything that they were committing to, his pocket was on the line. He was basically the investor, right? And so he basically, unlike both of the Steves, Wayne had personal assets, and he was concerned that if the company failed, that he would be responsible for paying off debts from his own pocket. And given that Apple was new and risky, right, and the industry was just like, it wasn't there really, right? It was like it had to be created. It was still like IT industry. They basically, he didn't really believe it enough. And so he was apprehensive about his exposure financially. So, and that's going to happen because, TeeCee, to your point, when people do leave you with business stuff, right? Because I've had partners leave me. I've had employees leave me. Listen, people will leave, and it's okay, because we have to get used to people having that privilege to make the decision to know that it's not for them, right? And that's one of the biggest things I've learned in business, is that business is not a personal game. It's about, is it a fit? Is it a good fit for you and what you need to do? Because we're trading like assets, we're trading skills, we're trading money, we're trading these things. And so it has to be worth it for both parties. And so I love the fact that, we look at this and we say, well, he really did have real concerns. It may have implicated him in different ways we don't know. So we have to kind of like say, hey, that makes sense. And we can't be upset about people leaving, because look at where Apple is today. Like, more for me, right? So then you have the previous business experience that he had. Wayne, this is so crazy because he started his own business before, which had failed. That business left him with a huge debt, y'all. So his past experience made him really like worry of it. Like, he didn't want to take the risk in another entrepreneur venture in that way. He really just wanted to make quick money. That's really what that's saying. And he didn't want to, repeat that failure he had earlier. And he was hesitant to take on the financial burden if Apple didn't succeed. But here's the thing, right? Like, if that's the attitude that we have about the things that we do in business, then we will never succeed, because things are supposed to fail in order for us to learn. You cannot learn if you've never been through something. Like my mentor, shout out to Miss Ernest Cummings. I love her so much. She made such a good call in one of our last meetings. And she was just like, people want to teach you how to do things, but never actually been through it, right? Like just because you have knowledge about something doesn't mean that you can actually support and help people through it. And so, how you teach an alcoholic not to be alcoholic, you can't really if you've never been an alcoholic. So those are one of the lessons that it was being learned. And so you have to go through failure. You have to experience the failure in that first business and then say, you know what, maybe I didn't do that right. Maybe I should have did that more. Maybe, so there are some things that we can always tweak and learn, but we should never be scared. Never be scared to start again. Never be scared to take the full risk and the full ride. Like every single time you make an effort, it should be your full effort. Like, don't half it, right? Because it's not worth it. It's not worth even trying if you're not going to give it your all. So this is one of the things that I really love to see, that he wasn't really a good fit, right? How would Apple have been if you have two guys that are like all in, like we're gonna do it, and then the one guy he's like, yeah, no, I don't know about this. It's just demoralizing. So you have to have a team that is in full ride mode. And so that's exactly what this was. This was them being in full ride mode. And I don't know how that departure went. But before I talk about the last two, which is his difference in the vision of the company and his lack of long-term commitment, those are the last two areas of why he did not, why he sold his shares so early on in Apple. But TeeCee, did you want to make a comment on anything that I've shared so far?
Yeah, I'm just true in everything you're saying. Because at the end of the day, I feel like business is a risk. You know, I believe that if you are not taking any risks in your business right now, you're like not close to what you're supposed to be doing with that business. That's the way I look at it. And not everyone is called to be an entrepreneur, that not everyone is called to be a business owner. Some people are just meant to be where they are, which is fine, and it's not a crime. It's perfect, right? Now it takes a certain kind of mindset to be an entrepreneur. So once you set your mind and say, okay, you know what, this is what I want to do. I mean, these days we are, so many of us are excited about being entrepreneurs because of the kind of money we see that float all around social media. But you see what it truly takes to make that money. Some people be like, oh, I made 100,000 in 10 seconds. They didn't tell you the sacrifices they had to make within just that 10 seconds to be able to make it. You see, that's the part you're leaving behind. And that's the part where you go in, you then see it, and you be like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do this. So you need to be ready mentally, financially, I think more mentally, because that would stabilize you in making some financial decisions. So yeah, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. Let's go on. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because mentally he was not ready. We're talking about Ronald Wayne, which was one of the original partners for Apple, dipped out, early on, 12 days after incorporation, right? And just really not seeing the vision, um, which is okay. And I think it's really important for us to understand that, and even in our own businesses, because the truth is, even as I grow as a business owner, I'm just realizing that this is a part of it. Like you said risk, TeeCee, risk is a part of it, and there is reward in it. If you have a calculated risk strategy where you are putting things together that okay, this is going to cost me something, but once I do it, the return value is higher, right? It's a calculated risk. You can look at that and say, I'm willing to lose that. That risk is high. The calculated reward is higher than, yeah, I'm willing to lose that. So you have to be comfortable in the risk that you're taking. I don't think businesses should be full of miscalculated risks, or just doing things for doer's sake. So we have to kind of look at that, because as I'm looking at Ronald Wayne and I'm saying, well, why did that first business fail? Did he have a vision? Did he have a mission? Did he have a business plan? Did he really have a team, or was he trying to make quick money? And even from the example that I'm looking at here with Apple, he saw gold mine. He was like, oh, I'm putting my money here. But he didn't want to put in the dedication and the commitment it was needed to get that return. So the risk was not big enough for him. So he dipped out 12 days. The differences in the vision that he had for Apple, this is what it looked like. So both Jobs and Wozniak were younger, right? They were driven. They were willing to take the risks, right? Ronald Wayne, who was in his 40s at the time, and listen, I'm in my 40s, so I get it, Ronald. Like, we be tired, okay? I get it. But he was more conservative in his approach, okay? Like, he didn't share the same level of enthusiasm, He wasn't as confident in Apple's future, right? And he didn't foresee the company's massive success. I mean, I don't think anybody really saw it. But Steve, they saw it, right? So it's kind of like reminding me of those times where we have a vision and we see it and it's so big, so big. But when we tell someone else, they're like, okay, that sounds nice. But you're like, wait, like, that's a big vision, right? But they don't see it. And so you can't really convince people to see it how you see it. You just have to allow them to do what they're best at and go along for the ride and make that trade, right? And so that's what the Steves did. Like, he understood the vision was big, right? They understood the vision was big. But Ronald really couldn't see it. He really couldn't see it. And it wasn't risk, wasn't a calculated risk for him. So that lack of long-term commitment came in for him. And this will be the last piece that I'll say for Ronald, because I want to get back to the history of Apple. And I want y'all to see where they are today and how they got there. Okay. But Wayne, he saw himself as a temporary advisor rather than a long-term partner in Apple. Okay. Listen to this. He contributed to the early administration setup, right? So he drafted the partnership agreement, but he didn't view himself as a long-term, operation, right, with the company, right? He didn't I look at him as being there long-term, which made it real easy for him to exit comfortably without risk. And here's what I want to say, y'all, because this reminds me of something so big, and this happens a lot. Okay, this has happened to me, where people have come and wanted to be a part of the vision so bad. And they're like, oh yeah, let's be partners. TeeCee, have you ever had that? They'd be like, I want to partner with you. I want to do ABC. Oh, this is going to be so big. And, oh yeah, let's draft up the contract. And, so you do all these things. And it's on contract. They signed it, right? They committed their momentum to it, right? They're like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. They're like, I get it. I understand. Nobody else understands but me, right? You got these real dedicated, loyal people all of a sudden, right? And then out of nowhere, it's just like the momentum changes, right? Because action was never created out of the level of commitment with words, right? And we see that along the way, because I've had those situations, TeeCee, where I've had a commitment said, but when it came to the actions, I'm like, so you was doing okay for a little while, but then you just did that. They're like, whoa, like what happened? You were just so committed, And I think we have to realize that everyone does not have the same agenda. Sometimes they see the vision. Sometimes they understand it. They see like, oh, that's going to be big. But unfortunately, they may not have the same agenda, which is okay. You don't have to have the same agenda. And so that's why it's really important, for us to understand, how we look at our business and how we partner people who are in alignment with us. Because when you look back on, when I look back on those situations, it kind of like was very obvious. There were lots of red flags. Like I was like, I just wanted to ignore them because I really just wanted to get it done, or whatever the situation may have been. So I wanted to bring that up too, because, there are a lot of individuals in the world that really would love to be a part of your vision, right? They're not necessarily clients. They're not necessarily partners, right? They're not necessarily people that can really carry you out, because when I think about Ronald Wayne, he started them out, but he wasn't someone that should have been a partner. He should have just stayed an advisor and an investor, right? So he can pull out once, he wants to. But this level of commitment just was misleading. And it also could have been a miscommunication too, because sometimes in the beginning of our businesses, we are really excited and we're telling everyone we want them to be a part of it, right? And we're like, join me, right? Yeah, I want to partner up. But then we find out that they may not be a good fit. And so, we have to look at that and see, what kind of partnerships we want, who's in our business, how are they supporting us? Because every single role here, TeeCee, and I'll go over that in a moment, every single role here, they all played a key part in making sure that this company was incorporated, it was building, growing, and that it really has sustainable measures. Every single one of them had skill sets, resources, whether it was money or, or networking support or knowledge-based resources. Like everyone had a huge part. And then there were a couple of other individuals that joined them that I'll talk about in a moment. But TeeCee, is there anything that you wanted to add at this point before we go on? Because we do have, a few minutes left, and I just want to kind of give them a little bit of this extra piece here.
Let's go on. I love the conversation. Let's go on.
Yeah, and I'm going to comment because Kara made a comment and she said, ghosting is a real thing, especially when things are happening according to their hidden agenda. Absolutely. And we have to be very real about that, because if we're not honest with ourselves about what is actually happening, that I believe creates, a sense of like betrayal to yourself, right? because when something's not right. Your body knows, you know. But when we act like it is not what it is, that creates, I believe, like a dysfunction. Like, wait a minute, like your body's and your brain is like, that don't seem right. So we have to be in alignment with that. Like when we know that we feel something's off, listen to that, right? When you when you see something's off, pay attention to that, right? Don't overlook things that are triggering for you, because at the end of the day, that's you. That's your body telling you something. And so I always tell people all the time, like, business is part of you. It starts with you. So you have to listen to yourself. And the next two roles after, we talked about the two Steves, and I told you about Ronald Wayne, co-founder, Brief Partnership, right? And then we have Tim Cook, who's the current CEO of Apple, right? And he took over when Jobs resignated in 2011. And he's been responsible for Apple's growth ever since. And he spearheaded its expansion into new markets, including wearables, services. So, it wasn't just about the computers at this point, right? We got the phones, we got the Apple Watches, we got the devices, we got everything. And then we got Johnny Ive, who is a former chief design officer. Ive was close collaborator with Jobs and designed many of Apple's iconic products, including iMac, iPhone, iPod, and Apple Watch. He left the company in 2019. So I'm going to do this too, because we only have a couple of minutes, and I'm going to put it in the comments after this live, where I will list down the milestones of Apple's history. It's really interesting because it talks about Apple going public. It talks about Apple introducing Macintosh and Steve Jobs returning to Apple after a 12-year absence, right? TeeCee, I kind of feel like that requires us to do a part 2, because these brand stories start with the business, but behind the scenes of the business, y'all, like just not just the basic top level information, but the person, the brand, the person, Steve Jobs. When we think about Apple, we think about Steve Jobs. That person is who we're really looking at and saying, wow, like they built this company. But did you know that Steve Jobs was fired from his own company? Right? Like, and then they couldn't sustain it without him. And so I really want to dig into that in another live, TeeCee, because it shows that someone can take your idea, but they can never do it like you. And so we got to really be true to ourselves and understand what we're building. It's not necessarily just a business, right? You're building a brand. But I want to stop there because we are really running out of time. TeeCee, I'm going to look at the comments, but I would love to hear about your final remarks before we get out of here.
That last part, that last part is powerful. Anybody can do what they think they can do when it comes down to how you do your business, but the truth is, how you actually do that, no one else can. And that's why we keep talking about personal brand. We keep talking about showing up authentically. We keep talking about incorporating your personality into your brand. Your brand can be super big, but it still has that sauce. It still has the personality. It still has you in it, even without being there. And I feel like that's basically what makes it special, because the truth is, so many people are out there, you're struggling, you're sacrificing, you're trying to do what you need to do for your business right now. People are nowhere to be found, and they're not there to support you. Now, when you blow up, you're going to see a good number of people wanting to just, come in and, be your friends and, tag along and, oh, I'm this and all of that. And they come in, and sometimes it's very distracting, and you do not know who to trust and all of it. And then they come in and they want to even take it away from you. Like, some people are that way. Like, this is life. This is what it is. Right? Now, what is going to get you, see, is the fact that this is you. That it's your personality. It's that secret sauce that you sprinkle into your business until, like, even when you go, right, they still need your specific manuscript for it to be the way that it has always been when you're still alive. That's how powerful your personal, when you incorporate your personal brand with your business, no one can take it away from you. Even if they come in and do all of those plenty things. Have you seen, Allegra, that okay, I'm going to say this one before we go. Brands that buy other brands, you see, the smart thing they do is they buy these brands, but they still keep the sole owner, the person with the vision, still managing the brand, right? The smart ones keep get to do that. You know why? Because those people who buy it, those are smart, business owners, because they know that once they remove the initial source to this whole thing that they are excited about, the excitement leaves. Now, if your business is empty, if your business is like what we can just pick on Google or pick on YouTube or pick on the streets, if there's no difference between what you do and what somebody else does, see, we can switch. We'll blow you out and you're off, and you don't have the business anymore. Is that what you want? Lego is laughing. Is that what you want? Think about it. Think about, because it does happen. So you want to be ready. You want to make sure that nothing happens, right? You're still a big portion of the entire system that is getting your business to that whole promised land. So that's something that I love, and I feel we should have like a part two of this, because this is powerful, Allegra. This is really powerful. Mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed by the information that's being shared here, because I think it's really important for us to learn and grow through this process of understanding how this relates to our business. Business doesn't change. Like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. Like literally, it's the truth. And I think it's something that we have to really embrace, because sometimes we overcomplicate how things need to be. And just understanding, that thank you for posting the history, TeeCee. Understanding that Apple has been able to be the most profitable and valuable company in the world when it comes down to its revenue streams. You have iPhones, Macs, iPads, Apple Watch, software services. They have Apple Store, iCloud, Apple Music, Apple Pay. This reminds me of, just expansion and growth and understanding the audience, because I remember having an iPod and, the little music player, and, then transferring that over to a phone. I remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, this is pretty cool, right? So these aren't things that are happening because they like it, because they're inspired by the fact that they just saw a really cool device. They're listening to people, they're listening to the audience, they're seeing what people are using, how they're using it, and just starting with a basic one, what was it called? Like the Apple One, a single board computer, and then just venturing out to other things. Revenue right now, if you look in 2023, $394 billion for Apple. That's how much they're making. Well, that's how much they made last year. This year, we got to see, right? Their net income is $99.8 billion. Their market cap last year was over $2.7 trillion. When we look at Apple's growth, it's driven by iPhone, right? Which has been the flagship product since the introduction of it in 2007. And the services division, which includes digital content, cloud services, and Apple's expanding ecosystem, has become a significant source of revenue as well. So looking at that, right, they have revenue sources, several of them, that are driving forces, but there's also other things that Apple has, and I'm sure that they're all on their websites. I'm sure that all of those products and those services are available to buy. But I promise you that they are not putting all of their forefront efforts on marketing every single one of them. This is something that myself and TeeCee always talk about when we encourage lead generation and understanding your clientele, right? This just proves the iPhone, which has been the leading device, that's the main thing we see. Every freaking year they come out with a new iPhone and we don't even need it. We don't even need it. We're like, that's the same iPhone I got last year, but cool. I'll get it another one. You know, it's not the product, right? It's the feeling that you have of getting that new fresh product in the mail or at the store, unboxing that fresh iPhone, right? Looking at something new and nice, and then getting maybe some upgraded features in there, right? I'm gonna tell you one thing. When I found out that the Samsung camera was still better than the iPhone camera, I was mad because I said, wait a minute, but I still love iPhone more. Why? Because I'm dedicated to the brand. A lot of people are. So look at that in your own businesses. How are people dedicated to your brand? What are they getting from it? How are they feeling about it? Right? And ask them those questions. Surveys, quizzes, you know, components that really keep your audience engaged with your business. I don't think we're using that enough. I'm not using it enough. And those are some things that TeeCee and I have, you know, talked about a lot in our rooms. So join us on Clubhouse, join us on our live streams. And if you get into our programs and our memberships, this is one of the biggest components to success. When you invest in yourself, you have to know exactly how these things operate for you and your business. And so making sure that you understand, like, hey, this thing takes time. Business does not happen overnight. I have clients that have been with me for 2 years and they don't stop, okay? Because they understand this is a lifelong process for them. Now, it may not be for everyone, but however long you're going to dedicate time to doing your business, you need to be dedicated 100%. And so that's what we're encouraging. So whatever you need support in, make sure you let me and TeeCee know. I'm going to let TeeCee take it away with any final words before we get out of here. Make sure you guys connect with us, DM us, let us know if you need support. We have links in our bios. We'll put links in the comments as well. So you can connect with us individually or together, because we do have programs that you can get both of us at the same time. And some of our clients definitely need that. We don't like pinging you back and forth. We do have opportunities so that you don't have to get one or the other. We will work together with you on this, whatever you need support in. TeeCee, your final takeaways, and then we'll get out of here.
I guess it's simple for me. As much as possible, come prepared next week. We're going to be talking about the second part of the amazingness of Apple, how it was able to navigate through, the difficulties of being a business, founding members and all of those great stuff, and what you get to learn and what you get to take away as well. So come with your notepad, come with your pen, and come with your open-mindedness, okay, to establish the right structure for your business. I believe that is very important. We're going to see you. Okay, you know what? Mark this time on your calendar, so we are sure that you're going to come back next week. Okay, so you don't miss it. Let's do this. Yeah, so we don't miss it. Okay, so just take out time as you watch this. Mark it on your calendar every Thursday. Every Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. That is 5 p.m. BST. Make sure as much as possible for you to plug in if you have questions, you have thoughts, you have shares about all of these amazing brands. Let's talk about it, and let's also talk about the struggles you are currently passing through. Like, everyone has these complications. Everyone has the struggles that we all pass through, because that's basically what comes with being an entrepreneur. So there's nothing to be shy about. I guess what makes you an expert is your ability to share what is currently happening in your business, and also get expert help to navigate through that process and just keep scaling. That's basically what makes you the expert that you are, makes you successful, in that line as well. So that's it from me. Thank you so much, everyone, for paying attention and always, being a part of our amazing series of the Big Brand Small Business. We're going to see you all, or rather, I'm going to see you all next. Okay. Over to you, Allegra.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing day. We will see you next week. Thank you for that announcement, TeeCee. We do have a couple of things that we will be doing throughout the week, y'all, because listen, myself and TeeCee, we do a couple different things. We have our businesses, but we also are part of the Women into Networking Win brand. And as we are beta testing our Win consulting features, y'all, listen, Follow us for our live channels on Instagram, on Facebook. Make sure that you listen to some of the things that we're sharing, because if you are not just a small business owner, with one employee, you may have more than two. We have an amazing opportunity for you, because there are some things happening in companies today that we have noticed, and we have done case studies around. We have seen where we have done some problem solution theories for, and we know that there's some corporate wellness that we're going to be hitting some topics on. So that'll be the first thing that we'll be covering this month. So we just want to make sure that you're fully connected, because if you are not about being a solopreneur and you want to grow that company and you want to manage that team and to make sure people are well and mindful and prospering, then we have some things in store for you. All right. So make sure you follow us. All right, y'all. Have an amazing day. We will see y'all on the flip side. Bye.